was beautiful. And now, as we prepare to begin this completely unrehearsed nativity play, I would like to ask the congregation to acknowledge our wonderful stage managers, Melissa Marotte, Karen Rose, Dustin Washburn, and Scott Kaiser, who will be getting into place to assist this morning's performance. Thank you all so much. You guys all have your scripts and stuff, right? We're good? Awesome.
Often in the past, we have read the story of the birth of the ancient Jewish teacher and religious leader, Jesus, and we call it the Nativity from the book of Luke in the Christian scriptures. Of course, this story has been retold in so many different ways and changed so many times, we'll never really know what happened. Which is why today we're going to take some liberties and make it our own story as much as possible. This, of course, depends entirely on everyone's goodwill and cooperation, and many of you, we hope, will take part in the story to help us see and experience this familiar, beloved story in a new way, as if it were happening right here and now.
So we are going to read the story, and many of us will recognize the familiar characters and familiar plot of this ancient story. In fact, some of you may recognize it really well because this morning we've adapted and updated a pageant script we've used once in the past. So you're not crazy if you notice that. Several times during the story, we will pause and ask for volunteers to play some of the parts. It's not hard work, I promise. For the most part, you get to sit and watch the rest of the story unfold around you. And we need people of all shapes, sizes, and ages. If you wish to be in the story, raise your hand when we ask for a volunteer. Reverend Matthew or Brian or I will call on you, and our stage managers, Melissa, Karen, Dustin, and Scott, will help you prepare for your part.
And the roles that we need help with are printed in your order of service, and as we narrate, we'll announce the next roles that are available, so all you have to do is raise your hand if you'd like to play that part. Don't call anything out, we'll just raise our hands. And if we ask you to play a character, then we'll send you out to the foyer or the kitchen where the stage managers will help you get into your costume and will tell you what to do next. Once you're up on stage, look around, you'll see an X here with your character's name. Here, I'm standing on an X that says Caesar. Here, I'm standing on an X that says donkey. There's a joke I could make about that, but I'll save that. So find that X, and then as you listen carefully, you will also hear some directions about what you're to do. So all you have to do, volunteers, is listen to the stage manager's directions and to the directions you hear in the story, and feel free to be expressive. Don't worry about mistakes. There are no mistakes. The story is a beautiful and meaningful one, and so we're here to be moved by it once again, but also here to have fun. So let's begin.
Now, listen carefully, because that's the story we're about to hear. Is the stage crew ready?
Yes.
Is everyone else ready?
Yes.
The first thing we need is two people who want to be the brave travelers in the story, Mary and Joseph. And so, who'd like to be Mary? Okay, so I see Sheila, and who'd like to be Joseph? Well, we can't have. It's got to be someone. We can't put a couple together. That would be too obvious. Yes. Great. And you'll be sitting for a little while. So you've been warned that's going to be the case. So please go ahead and meet our stage manager in the foyer, out to the back, and prepare for your parts.
Karen's got you.
To the back. Where you enter. And we also need a volunteer to be our Caesar. And Caesar needs to be able to read a line. So do we have any volunteers?
Caesar over here.
All right, we've got Caesar over here. And go ahead and please meet our stage manager in the kitchen to prepare for your part.
Thank you. So, we bring you this morning the ancient story of the Nativity, the story of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. Listen to and watch the story as if for the first time, as if you are encountering it firsthand many, many years ago. Imagine that after years and years of hearing stories about women and men bowing down before powerful kings and emperors and dictators and chieftains and tyrants, you finally hear a story in which 3 powerful, wise kings and queens and shepherds alike kneel down before one tiny newborn child. Imagine that after hearing so many stories about terrible wars, about persecutions and pogroms, you hear the friendly story of a birth, the story of a humble carpenter and his wife, and the birth of their child. Imagine that in this story, all the people are longing for peace on earth and goodwill to all people everywhere.
Imagine that you are hearing this story for the first time, a story that questions the power of large armies and great wealth. Imagine you hear a story that instead talks about the transforming power of love instead of the transforming power of the military. Imagine, if you can, a day in the future when people will really listen to this story, will really believe that love is more powerful than war, that poor, humble people are just as important and just as powerful as the most famous and powerful rulers.
So in those days, long, long ago, a decree went out from the Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus. And as Caesar approaches, you might say, "Hail Caesar!"
Hail Caesar!
And Caesar arrived and read his proclamation.
All the world should be registered so that the people can pay taxes to me.
All the people were required to go to the city or town where they had been born to register. For some people, that meant a long journey. Did you know that the stars were how people found their way on long journeys? I think we need some stars now. Can we have 3 people of any age to be bright stars? I see a very bright star over here. James? No? Okay. He changed his mind. I need 3 bright stars. It's very easy to be a bright star. I have a bright star back here. You'll go out to the foyer back here. I have another bright star in Barbara. I need 1 more bright star. And a 3rd bright star. Thank you so much. They have your costumes in the foyer. As Mary and Joseph and their guiding stars prepare for a long journey to Bethlehem, we all have an opportunity to reenact the part of the story where people made a financial contribution to support the empire. But unlike Caesar's tax plan, your donations to this morning's offertory aren't being sent all the way to Rome to make some distant emperor richer. They stay right here and strengthen this church community that we all share. So thank you for giving generously to this morning's offertory.
So let's take a moment to receive this offering with words we sing each week, words which are even more resonant within this story. And so we return to our tale of 2 ordinary people just trying to pay their taxes. Joseph, a carpenter, had to go all the way from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the village of Bethlehem. And Joseph went to be registered with Mary, the woman he was planning to marry, for she was expecting a child. Joseph and Mary had to travel a long way, and they knew it would not be easy because Mary was expecting her child very soon. and she would be uncomfortable both walking and riding on their donkey. But there was nothing that could be done about it. They had to go. So they started on their journey, traveling by day and sometimes through dark nights, which were lit only by the brightest stars.
Are our bright stars ready to show Mary and Joseph the way to Bethlehem? There they are, Mary and Joseph on their long journey, finding their way.
So now the story is often told that Mary and Joseph were turned away from the inn because there was no room and they had to fend for themselves, and so came to a stable. We're going to take a moment here for a brief history lesson on first century Palestine. Showing hospitality to guests and even strangers was a point of great honor. And shutting the door on people in need was a terrible offense. This was a community of people who shared what they had. And what most people had was a one-room house where everyone slept on mats on the floor. And they brought their animals inside at night to keep them safe and keep the room warm. Then, as now, we are in a time where refugees need to be welcomed, and people of goodwill must find ways to care for each other. If you're skeptical of any of the background on how no room at the inn translates, because I realize that there's not such a thing as UUs being skeptical, but there's biblical research on this taped up on a window in the lobby that you can read after the service. But right now, Mary and Joseph are being welcomed into this crowded stranger's home. They're greeted by the whole family and also the livestock, which in our story will be a donkey, a cow, and a pig. So what we need now are 3 people, big and small, to play the animals. So first, who would like to be our donkey?
Donkey? I have a donkey. Do I have a cow? Do I have a cow? I have a cow. Oh, I have a cow over here. Priority casting goes to children. It's a rule. I see. No one should feel pressured to play a role they do not wish to, but all are welcome. Do I have a cow? A cow. I have a cow. Cow costume is kind of child-sized. How about, is my donkey? Donkey? Cow? Would you care to be the pig, sir? I have a pig available. I have a cow, I have a donkey, I have a pig. Your costumes are in the kitchen.
So while the animals are getting placed, we're going to take a moment and sing about where all of this is happening. All of the songs during this pageant we'll sing while remaining seated. We're not going to pop up and down like crickets. Did you know that Bethlehem is a Hebrew term meaning house of bread? Because this city was known for its mills and its manufacture of breads and grains. So, as a congregation that has just celebrated its own bread communion within the last month, it's fitting for us now to join in singing, open up to hymn number 246, O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Of thy
welcomed Mary and Joseph into their house and even gave up their hay-filled manger so that the baby could have a bed. And thus Mary gave birth to her firstborn child. Very easily and painlessly, obviously. In a stranger's home, surrounded by animals, and wrapped him up in bands of cloth and placed him in the manger. In that region, there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks at night. So this is a pretty good clue that Jesus wasn't born in the middle of winter because it was way too cold for shepherds or sheep to be out at night. But why let the truth interfere with the story? This is a story about ordinary people finding hope in the coldest, darkest night. So we need 2 shepherds and 4 sheep of all sizes. And you'll be going to the kitchen to be robed. So do we have volunteers for shepherds or sheep?
Shepherds? Sheep. 2 sheep right here. We got 2 sheep. Shepherds? 2 shepherds right here. Sheep. You want to be sheep? I need 2 shepherds. I have 4 volunteers to be sheep. I have a shepherd right here. Do I have another shepherd? Shepherd right here. Excellent. I got 4 sheep. I got 2 shepherds. All of our flock is gathered. You will go to the pavilion to get your costumes. And as the shepherds lay in the field that night, suddenly, as if by magic, an angel appeared before them, and this angel was truly magnificent, and the glory of the heavens shone around the shepherds, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them,
"Do not be afraid, for I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born in the city of David a child who will be a great leader for your people. Some will call him a Messiah. This will be the sign to you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in the manger."
and suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of angels who seemed to rise up as if from nowhere, and they opened their hymnals to number 393, and the chorus of angels rejoiced, singing hymn number 393, Jubilate Deo, 3 times. And seemed to go right back up into the heavens, or maybe back to their seats. And the shepherds had a line that I hope they're ready to give. Did the shepherds hear the angel's message? The shepherds were astonished by the angel's words, and it took them a moment to get ready to come into place.
Let us now go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place. Come along,
And so the shepherds went to Bethlehem with their sheep, and there they found Mary and Joseph, and the child lying in the manger, just as the angel said it would be. When the shepherds saw this, you can look for your X's. When the shepherds saw this, they told everyone what the angel had said to them about this newborn child. and everyone who heard their story was amazed. Nicely done. But Mary kept all of these things and treasured them in her heart. And so the shepherds and sheep knelt too around the manger, glorifying and praising their God for all the wonders they had heard and seen. And so we now need 3, you might know what comes next, wise persons, big or small, who will go to the back of the sanctuary for enrobing. And we need a volunteer to be their bright star in the east.
I have a bright star. I have a wise person. 2 wise persons.
2 wise guys.
Warren, are you raising your hand? Nope. Okay. I need a 3rd wise person. I have a 3rd wise person. Excellent. 1, 2, 3 wise people in our bright star in the east. Excellent.
So,
Oh, that's your last.
so as our wise persons prepare, let us sing together hymn number 226 in your gray hymnal. Hymn number 226, People Look East.
Jesus was born in Bethlehem, 3 wise persons from the far east came to Jerusalem. Some stories say that they were kings, others say that they were astronomers, and none of the stories actually say that there were 3 of them, just that there were 3 gifts, but we'll go with popular opinion. So, the wise persons were almost ready.
They had a long journey. It was
They
a long
did.
journey.
Biblical scholars debate how long that journey exactly was, but we're getting some clues.
And so it's magical that they made such a long journey and yet were able to make it there on that same night. In this case.
Further miracles upon miracles within the story. Is our bright star in the east ready to begin the journey to guide them as our wise persons complete their robing? Because the star went before them.
It only makes sense that the star had to appear first so that they can go, oh, we need to pack and get moving.
It does make sense. So, when the wise persons arrived in Jerusalem, they asked,
Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For
For we observed his star in the skies, and we have come to praise him and bring him gifts.
The wise persons learned from the king in Jerusalem about a prophecy which had been spoken long ago, that a Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. So the wise persons set out for Bethlehem, and there ahead of them went the star that they had first seen when it appeared in the east.
And the wise persons followed the star until it stopped over the stable where the newborn child was lying in the manger. And when the wise persons saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy and decided to go inside. And there they saw the child with its mother, and they knelt down to praise him. And they opened their bags and brought out gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh, which they had brought with them.
So now our whole cast is gathered. Let's take a moment and admire this remarkable scene. It is one special night with stars and angels and shepherds and wise person and many, many animals all witnessing this special birth. No doubt, if Jesus were born 2,000 or so years ago in a home in Bethlehem, it might have looked a little different than this. No doubt our beautiful sanctuary is a little finer, actually, than a small, dirty stable or even a welcoming one-room house would have been. But the love and the mystery and the wonder that we see here is no different than the wonder that would have been there at the time of Jesus' birth. So as our complete cast of characters admirably hold their places in this nativity scene, let us celebrate the joy and love and wonder of this story by singing together in your gray hymnal, hymn number 245, Joy to the World.
Participation. Would everyone who took a part in today's pageant please rise and take a bow? And would our fearless, bold, intrepid stage managers come forward and take a bow also? Longer, and we can all reach out and take hands with those near us for our benediction from Sophia Lion Fox.
Hold on. Gotta do this one properly.
Yeah. so the children come, and so they have been coming. Always in the same way they come, born of the seed of man and woman. No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. No wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind. Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. Fathers and mothers sitting beside their children's cribs feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or will it ever end? Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Go in peace, be makers of peace. Salam, shalom, blessed be, amen. God bless us, each and every one. And now you can please be seated for our postlude, or if for some reason you need to leave, or I invite you to leave in silence.